Welcome back, everybody! Once again, we are here in Edgington, in Timber and Stone, beta version 1.52. So, how are we? Oh, we're getting all manner of leveled up. Okay, so we have a trader coming in, which means we need to find an S. You? No, you? No. Where's an S? You? There you are. Okay, an S. Need you to do some trading. Oh, we don't need, but you know, be nice to us. And we've got all sorts of people leveling up. So we've got Keo and we've got Waylon. Ooh. Hard. Please do not stab through the engineer, Waylon. That would be very, very bad if you were to stab through our engineer. Yeesh. Let's see, what are you up to? Yes. Waiting in hall. Good! That's where you need to be to trade. Okay, yes. Kindly do not stab through. Like, don't train your stabbing ability through the engineer. That would be bad. Very bad indeed. Oh, hello. Leonard Abrasart, level 3 blacksmith. We have a new villager! I don't have any new names, but welcome, Leonard Abrasart. I'm glad to know we can actually still attract new people, because we always need more people, and I think we probably need to put you on fishing, because our food is dipping a bit, and that worries me. Huh. Hasn't even gotten here, and I'm already giving orders. Well, you know. Ooh, I see a few trees. Oh, okay, willing to give us 4 bronze in exchange for 10 cloth. Well, we can make 10 cloth easily. Bronze is more difficult. Like, cloth is cheap for us, that's no worries. So, our topic for today is gonna be an interesting one, because it's a new concept to me. It is unusual when I talk about things that I am just barely getting to grips with. But our topic for today is gender dysphoria. And this is going to be hard to explain, because it's going to be dealing with a lot of psychological elements and sensations of things not being right, that kind of thing. But in an extremely broad sense, and this is how things have been described to me, so if they're not accurate, then I apologize. Best to research this kind of thing yourself. Oh, and he's off already. We got 1 trade. Okay, well, welcome Leonard, charismatic and a quick learner. Bringing food, steel hammer, coal, bronze chain coif, nice, okay. You're good at a lot of things, infantry, trader, carpenter, blacksmith, builder, fisherman, good, herder, tailor. Okay, yes, we are going to definitely be accepting you, Leonard. So, welcome. And let's put you onto fisherman duty, please. So welcome, Leonard Abrasart. So yeah, it's... how do I even begin with this? Okay. When you think of gender expression, which is something I have been delving into recently, because it doesn't seem to always align with my gender identity, or more specifically, it doesn't align with what is typically described as what my gender identity in particular is meant to look like. You may discover that at times when your gender identity, or at least what you believe to be your gender identity, doesn't match what you believe to be your gender expression, and that causes discomfort or uneasiness or general negative sensation, that's basically what gender dysphoria is. It's the sensation that that something about your physical form is off, or is wrong, or isn't quite how it should be, to suffice to say. And that's considered to be basically like one of the first and most obvious hallmarks of when someone is transgender, because their body isn't what it's supposed to be, essentially. And I got introduced to this by my friend Sam, who is now getting really big. He's now getting really big into the live stream D&D kind of crowd, because he keeps getting commissioned to make props for them. But Sam is trans, and consequently, he knows what dysphoria is better than I do. So consequently, I initially did not think that it applied to me, because I'm very certain of my gender identity. I'm very certain that I'm male. Not because, like, well, I suppose not just because this is what people have told me my entire life, but just because that feels right to me. That feels solid, that's stable. At least as far as I currently understand it, I am a guy. What differs, however, is my gender expression. And because it was just my gender expression, not my gender identity, that didn't quite seem right, I previously assumed that I did not in fact experience dysphoria. Sam has alerted me that this is not quite the case, because gender dysphoria does not require that you have a disparate identity to like expression. It's just your body doesn't feel right in some fashion. So you don't even need to know if you're like, if you don't even need to be trans necessarily to have dysphoria. That's again not. I'm having trouble putting this into words. I've had slightly less caffeine than I usually do today, so if I'm a little off, that might be why. But yeah, so in particular, my sense of dysphoria is that I'm definitely a guy. Again, I'm very certain of this. I sound a lot like I'm saying it just to reassure myself, I know, but I'm just trying not to be confusing. But I'm definitely a guy, but my gender expression, my idea of what my body should look like, is unstable. So, occasionally, like most often, it looks like my theoretical ideal of my body shape is the standard masculine section. More or less, it's exactly what I have now, in fact. You should say that includes the shaved legs, so yay. But occasionally it varies, and you are currently stood right where our engineer needs to get. So could you stand there a moment, and then you come over here, please, so that they can get to fixing that up. Thank you. Occasionally it veers more towards what we would typically consider to be a female body type. Which is to say, breasts, well, pronounced breasts, I should say, because men have breasts too, believe it or not. Turns out if you're riding the same hardware, you tend to have most of the same components. Or longer legs would be nice, but that's more of a... That's more of the appeal kind of thing. And then over parts changed as well, and then far more frequently it's a combination of the two. So as I say, my ideal gender expression is extremely unstable, and I don't know why this is. It's probably, quite possibly, always been that unstable, and I've only just taken the time to notice. Okay, Clifton, we're gonna try and do this again. So if you stand here, are you going to start actually, like, targeting anything? Yes, you are. Okay. Now, there was a theory in the comments that this line of blocks here is responsible for messing up his sense of targeting. The trouble is, if I remove that, they'll be free to walk over those blocks, and they'll potentially have people wandering into the firing lines. And that's not great. That's not what that is not what we want to see, because people will die if they do that. And in Edgington, as in most places, people die when they are killed. So we don't really want to encounter that. But, yeah, I think we'll have to tear that down a little bit and rebuild it, which is fine, because it's a very old, very simple kind of style of building, and we've had much more complex buildings coming after, so we'd like to update that to a more modern kind of style. For one thing, we could have this be the back over here, and we could have our archers walk in this way. That'd be better, I think. But we need to figure out an actual archery range design that is safe first, I think. Oh, we got Cal coming back. People coming back. It's late afternoon. Okay. So yeah, it's possible that my gender expression only seems so unstable now because I'm actually now taking the time to examine it. Like, do you necessarily know that a given building is incredibly shoddy and liable to fall over in a stiff breeze if you've never actually taken a look to see it? That kind of thing. And according to Sam, who knows about this better than I do, that means I'm experiencing that means I'm experiencing gender dysphoria. So that's interesting to find out about myself. I kind of never expected that. So consequently, I'm sat here having to delve into why am I experiencing dysphoria? Why is my gender expression so unstable? And Sam mentioned, because as I say, this is kind of like the hallmark thing of are you transgender is, do you experience gender dysphoria? If yes, then probably, or quite possibly at the very least. Oh, Architect has deteriorated. Well, that's fine, because we've just had another one repaired, so if you could stand next to that one and just shoot it in the back, that would work. There. We'll get you leveled up eventually. So, Sam mentioned that if I'm experiencing dysphoria, then I should take a really long, hard look at my gender identity, because it might be an indicator that I'm actually transgender. The trouble is, as I say, it fluctuates a lot, and my personal, like, description of how my, like, of my gender identity is very plainly masculine. Well, then Sam asked me something else, which is, what do I define as masculine? So that was a poignant question, because I say I'm male. Why? Why do I think I'm a guy? Why do I think? Why am I so certain of this? In fact, might be the greater question. Are you set to? No, you're set to herd. We just don't have anyone herding you right now. Do we have a spear? Yep, we almost do. Jeez, all of our herders are very, very busy. Okay, well, I set you, Roland, to be carrying a shepherd's crook, so if I send you out there to that chicken, you should be able to bring it back. Emphasis on should. Lee, there. You're carrying a fair bit, 17 food, you know, so... 1970, 1980... Keeps climbing. 1990... 1998. To my memory, 98 wasn't a bad year. But, you know, there we go. 1998 food. Clambering up to the 2000s, and I'm not seeing any foes. I'm slightly expecting one. We'll find out. But yeah, so what is it that I consider to be male, and why specifically do I think I am it? And the answer to that is... I'm not terribly certain. Being the marginally more self-aware than most feminist guy that I am, I generally don't tend to lump traits into one category of gender or another. It's just sort of, okay, here's people. People experience these things. Humans are known for various things. And hashtag not all humans at that as well. So, for example, I have long hair. That's conventionally, like traditionally, considered to be a feminine trait, but for me, no. It's just hair. It's protein extruded by your scalp. It doesn't really have a gender like attached to it. I've certainly always gotten along better with women. Like, that's just been a sort of thing throughout my entire life. But then again, 90% of the guys I've met have been utter dickwads, so of course I would get along better with the women. What else could I think of here? Being open to emotion? I mean, a lot of people might describe me as being more emotional than most guys. Or than most guys are willing to be, I should say. But that's also something I've had to work on. Mostly for my own mental health. Thank you, Roland, for fetching us chicken. Yay, tonight we feast. Mostly on eggs. Don't worry, Chicky, you'll be fine. I love he's holding it at complete almost at complete arm's length. I also love that the chicken is completely, perfectly fine with this. Sparks, if you're watching, do chickens behave like this when you hold them? Because in my experience, they're a lot more wriggly. Anyways, another chicken to the farm. How many do we have now, actually? How many chickens are down here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. This will be our 17th chicken, I believe. Blimey. No, we're down to 1932. Yeah, that was in the run-up to World War II, I think, so it might not have been as pleasant, but I wasn't around at that stage to know, believe it or not. Stone hoe has broken. How is for stone hoes, then? Hose. We have 7. Okay, add 10 to the queue. That's why we're getting a ton of wood, because we're going to need it fairly soon. Ooh, speaking of, we're getting a bunch of adult trees back here. I shall have to order a harvest. Oh, and an S. Sorry about that, you can go back to fishing. Eee. Okay. So, yeah, it's troubling for me to try and define what is male to me, because I have trouble, or like more and more, I don't really define any traits as necessarily one gender or another. So I consequently can't really answer the question of why do I personally think that I am male, other than it feels correct. And I wouldn't overtly say that anyone over time has ever said to me that I can't do things because I'm a guy, or I must do things because I'm a guy. I live in a very, very sexist society, so I can't say that I've never encountered it, but I don't have any... Ooh, this is a long save. Not enough disk space to record. Well, dicks. Phew, quick hiccup there from my hard drive being full, which is a common problem right now. Anyway, so, yeah, I can't say that I've necessarily been untouched by divisions of the sexes and such. Like gender segregations, if we will. But I don't know that I've ever been uncomfortable with them. Like, I don't know that I personally have ever suffered before, though, have ever been, like, made to suffer for them, have ever been, like, discouraged from things by them, that kind of thing. It's like, if I didn't want to do something, nobody really made bones about it. If I wanted to do something, again, nobody really made bones about it. Maybe that's credit to my... Maybe that is a credit to my upbringing. But... makes it a little harder for me to try and define here, like, why I'm so absolutely certain of my gender identity. Oh, and it's getting into snooze time for people. Okay. It's nice having this big long rack of training dummies. People just wail on them forever. Oh. So yeah, what do you think, like, defines being male? Not necessarily masculinity, but being male. Masculinity is what we describe as like the epitome of manhood, that kind of thing. It's the little pigeonhole that guys are supposed to fit into. It's not what being a guy is supposed to be. It's the, like, masculinity quickly devolves into toxic masculinity, at least in my understanding. So consequently, it's not the thing that we're talking about here. It's why do I think I'm a guy? Specifically, what is a guy? It's not somebody with a penis, because there are plenty of guys without them. It's not someone with a flat chest, because there's plenty of guys who don't have flat chests. There's plenty of women that have flat chests as well. It's obviously not going to be a physical characteristic, which means it must be a behavioral or psychological kind of characteristic, but I don't know of any that are exclusive to guys. So I don't know exactly if this is a question that I'm going to have an answer to anytime soon. Ooh, and we got another tree. Hooray. But, it is an interesting question to ask oneself. What specifically about your gender identity is it that you personally identify with? So if you're a girl, what do you define a girl as? If you're a guy, what do you define a guy as? If you're a different gender identity to those two, what do you define that as? Why do you think you are that and not something else? What is your internalized concept of these genders? Because, as far as I'm concerned, if somebody... I play a lot of characters with different pronouns. This is nothing unusual to people who watch my videos. The witch uses they, them. Sister Lying uses, or Sister Lena is her name, uses she, her. There's a lot of they, thems, there's a lot of he, hims, that kind of thing in the Lying verse, and I play all of those characters because they're all lines, so I play them. And playing those characters, I get to experience being referred to with a lot of different pronouns, with a lot of different names. And whilst names are a dime a dozen to me, because I grew up on the internet and pseudonyms were sort of the standard go-to fare, so you had usernames, nicknames, that kind of thing. Pronoun-wise, if somebody refers specifically to me as something other than he, him, I get a little bit uncomfortable. It doesn't fit, it doesn't work. And maybe that is because that's just what I've always been called. Maybe it's something else. I don't know, which is why it's important to do this kind of introspection. We talked last time we talked about retrospectives, and now we're talking about introspectives. What am I going to be talking about next episode? Glasses? Or in there. Find a bed. No, a bed, like over here. Come on. Wait, you appear to be navigationally challenged because I can't actually tell you to move anywhere. I wonder if that's because... if I hit Penguin is stood there. Don't tell me if I hit... Yes, okay, that's interesting. That box highlights where they're standing. Which means Morinder can't actually move, because Morinder is actually blocked in by... Oh, that is curious, which might mean it's advantageous to have a block there so people can't stand there, but I don't think we can do that without just blocking off the entire bed. Well, everybody gets a bed now. Okay. And with that, again, let me know in the comments, what do you define the properties of your specific gender identity? Like, why do you think that is your gender identity? Let me know, because who knows, you might be instrumental in a revelation of my nature, who knows. But other than that, hope you've enjoyed, and I shall catch you all, as always,